Patrick Bet-David has made it clear who he believes is becoming one of the real standout personalities in the WNBA, and his pick is not the one often promoted by the traditional WNBA media. He is supporting Indiana Fever star Sophie Cunningham for speaking openly about protecting women's sports and for the impact she brings on the court alongside Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese is also mentioned, but mainly as a contrast between strong statements and on-court results. During the recent WNBA All-Star game, Reese struggled with her shooting, was blocked by Aya Wilson, and Bet-David's comments added even more attention to the growing debate around both players. Cunningham's profile continues to rise, while Reese is facing more criticism, and Bet-David is putting his opinion behind Cunningham. It all started when Cunningham said, "I just don't think we need to have men competing in women's sports." The comment quickly spread online and sparked major reactions, but many people stopped at that sentence and missed what she said afterward. When asked whether her position meant she hated transgender people, Cunningham gave a much more measured response, saying she has love for everyone, does not dislike anyone, believes there is room for absolutely everyone, and believes people can love one another regardless of their differences. That wasn't Cunningham avoiding the question. She answered it directly instead of hiding behind a carefully prepared PR response. She also explained the reasoning behind her position, connecting it to Title IX and the history of women's sports. Her point was simple. Title IX helped create and protect opportunities for women in athletics, and without those protections, many of the women who became legends in sports might never have had the same opportunities. Cunningham said she was talking about protecting women's sports, not attacking anyone personally. She also made it clear that while she does not consider herself very political, she has her own beliefs and morals and intends to stay true to them. In today's climate, saying that publicly with cameras recording can bring serious criticism, so it was hardly the safest choice for a professional athlete. That is one reason Patrick Bet-David took notice. With millions of followers, he had no obligation to get involved, but after watching Cunningham's interview, he focused not only on what she said but also on how she carried herself. He pointed out that her arms were crossed, suggesting she already knew the backlash was coming, and he described her as brave, impressive, and courageous. Bet-David's bigger point was that this situation goes beyond basketball and that Cunningham could have a future and a lasting reputation after her WNBA career because of the way she handled herself. Bet-David also focused on the physical differences involved, pointing to factors such as shoulder structure, wingspan, overall size, and even foot size, and asking how his daughter could realistically compete against someone with those advantages. His argument was that he sees the issue as one of physical fairness rather than a political or cultural fight. The criticism came quickly, including from within the WNBA, but Bet-David pushed back and argued that the discussion was being shifted away from physical differences and toward other issues. At the same time, many players who are usually comfortable speaking publicly about different topics stayed quiet, while Cunningham chose to speak openly despite knowing there could be consequences. Bet-David even suggested that her comments could potentially cost her a WNBA job, but said he respected her for standing by her beliefs anyway. That, in his view, is what separates Cunningham from players who build attention mainly through social media moments. She is putting her name and potentially her career behind a position she believes is about protecting the future and fairness of women's sports, and Cunningham is not making these statements from the sidelines or on a small podcast. She is doing it while playing alongside Caitlin Clark and showing her value on the court every night. That raises another question. How did a player who once compared herself to Michael Jordan end up becoming the subject of criticism during her own showcase event? All-Star Weekend is supposed to be the biggest stage of the season, giving the league's top players a chance to shine in front of a huge audience. For Angel Reese, however, part of that spotlight became a difficult 9-minute stretch without scoring. It began with a wide-open missed layup, with no defender close enough to contest the shot. The clip quickly spread across basketball social media because it was such an easy scoring opportunity. Then came the moment that really took over the internet. Aya Wilson blocked Reese's shot while barely moving, standing flat-footed with her arms up. Wilson later said she was not even trying to block the shot and was simply attempting to move out of the way, but still managed to stop the attempt. That made the clip even more popular because it looked like Wilson was hardly defending and still prevented the basket. The sequence ended with Reese stumbling over Wilson's foot and falling to the floor in front of the crowd and cameras. Then former President Obama arrived to greet the All-Stars, and another moment caught on camera quickly became part of the conversation. Obama walked past Reese and went directly to Caitlin Clark, speaking with her privately while Reese remained nearby as cameras captured the interaction. He encouraged Clark not to let the outside noise affect her, shared his own experience of not becoming widely known until his mid-40s, and offered advice about handling intense attention at a young age. Clark later said the conversation was something she would remember for the rest of her life, and many fans saw the moment as another sign of how strongly Clark is viewed as the current face of women's basketball. The attention around Clark's shoes added to the story as well. Her CC sneakers reportedly drew interest from several players before they were even widely available, with Courtney Williams wearing a pair that night and Natisha Heedman posting about hers. Jonquil Jones, who earned All-Star MVP honors after putting up 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists, also showed interest in Clark's shoes despite having her own sponsored footwear. Reese offered her Reebok shoes to the group, but there was little visible response or social media attention afterward. Any one of these moments could be dismissed as nothing major: a missed layup, a blocked shot, a missed interaction, or an ignored shoe offer. But when all of those moments happen during the same weekend, the combined picture becomes much harder for fans to ignore. It starts to look like a clear pattern, especially when you compare Reese's public image with what fans are seeing from her on the court. During the exhibition game, the box score showed 0 points in 9 minutes, and that screenshot quickly spread online alongside jokes about the Michael Jordan comparison she had made. Bet David saw the reaction and decided to address it directly. He even said, "Yeah, she needs to take a hike," before explaining his reasoning. His criticism was not about Reese personally or an argument that she cannot play basketball. Instead, he focused on what he sees as a difference between the image being promoted and the actual production on the court. Bet David approaches these discussions through numbers rather than headlines, social media followers, fashion, or magazine appearances. For him, the important numbers are revenue, attendance, and television ratings, because those figures help determine the league's financial strength and what players can realistically earn. That financial perspective became especially important when Reese talked about the possibility of players going on strike, because Bet David argued that the WNBA has not always been financially strong enough to easily handle a work stoppage. Not long ago, the WNBA was reportedly losing nearly $40 million a year and relied on support from the NBA to cover the shortfall and keep the league operating. Then came a major 11-year media agreement reportedly worth $2.2 billion, averaging around $200 million per year, a figure that would have seemed unrealistic before Caitlin Clark entered the league. Bet David directly connects much of that growth to Clark, pointing to a reported 48% increase in league-wide attendance, about 2.3 million fans attending games, and a 170% rise in ESPN television ratings. In his view, those numbers provide measurable evidence rather than just hype. So when Reese describes herself as the WNBA's IT girl, Bet David argues that the claim needs stronger results behind it. He says sponsors and league officials ultimately care about audience numbers and filled seats, not simply fashion appearances or social media attention. He then turned his attention to the All-Star weekend footage and delivered even more criticism, joking about her missed shots and calling her an extremely poor shooter at that level. He also pointed to her statistics to support his argument. His overall point was that he is not criticizing her simply for entertainment. He believes the actual game footage and box score tell the story, and strong branding cannot replace on-court production. Then Shaquille O'Neal entered the conversation, and his comments carried extra weight because of his connection to Reebok and his support for Reese from the beginning. Shaq reportedly pushed back on the idea that Reese is already a legend, directly challenging the comparison Reese made between herself and Michael Jordan. He also said he believed Sophie Cunningham deserved the All-Star opportunity instead, praising her performance and the way she has handled herself while playing alongside Caitlin Clark. Bet David's larger argument comes down to a simple idea. Confidence can create attention, but results are what drive the business. Clark did not need to threaten a boycott, hold a major press conference, or rely on a viral hashtag. As a rookie, she averaged 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game, while also helping bring major attention to the league. As her impact continued to grow, the increased ratings and business momentum helped create a stronger financial environment for players under the new CBA, including Reese. That is what makes the situation so interesting. Some of the players who criticized the enormous attention surrounding Clark are now benefiting from the growth that attention helped create. And while the next major WNBA star may come from anywhere, the argument here is that Cunningham is focused less on headlines and more on competing, producing, and helping her team win. That is the main contrast being drawn between Sophie Cunningham and Angel Reese. Reese has built much of her public profile through social media, fashion moments, and a major Reebok partnership, while Cunningham has gained attention by standing behind her beliefs and bringing a physical, hardworking style to the court alongside Caitlin Clark. One approach can lose momentum when the shots stop falling, while the other can still create value through defense, effort, and toughness. Cunningham is no longer viewed simply as a role player sitting on the bench. She has become one of the more recognizable names around the league. Her rise has come less from a planned marketing campaign and more from doing the small things that help teams win, such as chasing loose balls, taking charges, battling for rebounds, defending bigger opponents, and making plays that may not always appear in the box score. Her connection with Indiana starters also developed over time through repeated games and shared experience. Clark creates offense and finds scoring opportunities. Aaliyah Boston provides strength and production in the paint, and Kelsey Mitchell can take over when the offense needs points. Cunningham adds another important piece by filling the gaps around them and doing the work that allows the rest of the lineup to play to its strengths. The value of players like Cunningham often comes from the work that does not always appear in the highlights. Physical defense, hustling for loose balls, taking contact, and fighting for extra possessions. That is what gives a team real depth instead of relying on one superstar to carry the entire roster. Lexie Hull brings many of those same qualities and is often overlooked for the impact she has. She may not dominate highlight reels, but she makes life difficult for opponents through effort, defense, and consistency. As the season progresses and games become more important, especially in the playoffs, those types of players become even more valuable. Teams built around a single star without a strong identity often struggle when the pressure rises. Teams that combine star power with hardworking, dependable role players like Hull and Cunningham are usually better equipped for long, competitive playoff battles. That change in identity is one reason more sponsors, media outlets, and fans have started paying attention. The focus is not simply on who generates the most online buzz. It is on who delivers when the game is on the line and who can help create a lasting and credible story for the league. Cunningham's profile is rising for the same reason Reese is facing more criticism. Once the numbers become big enough, people start looking past the headlines and paying attention to actual results. The All-Star Weekend sneaker story is one example. According to the discussion, players showed strong interest in Clark's CC shoes, while Reese's Reebok shoes did not receive the same visible attention. Cunningham is also playing alongside Clark every night, putting her directly in the middle of that growing spotlight. The Obama interaction with Clark and Shaquille O'Neal's reported support for Cunningham's All-Star selection added even more fuel to the conversation. Whether people agree with that narrative or not, the larger point is that Cunningham's rise is being connected to her performance, toughness, and role within Indiana's lineup rather than a carefully planned publicity campaign. The Fever are building more than just a talented roster around Clark. They are developing a team identity that other franchises may have to take seriously. If that momentum continues, the 2026 season could become the point when the rest of the league realizes just how far Indiana has already moved ahead. Picture the Fever entering the playoffs with Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexie Hull, and Sophie Cunningham, forcing every opponent to create a special game plan just to deal with them. At this point, Clark's MVP push and Indiana's championship hopes are being backed by more than hype. The argument points to rising attendance, stronger television numbers, and growing demand for her signature shoes as signs of her impact. The new CBA also reflects the league's increased financial growth, with players benefiting from the business expansion happening around the WNBA. From this perspective, Indiana helped build that momentum through performance on the court and the attention surrounding Clark. Now, the rest of the league has to respond to what the Fever are becoming. So, are you Team Sophie or Team Reese? Share your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more WNBA news, updates, and major stories. Click the video on screen for the next one, and we'll see you there.